All right. I wanted to talk about this because it took me a good little bit to actually figure it out, and my family was trying to figure it out for a while. I decided to put it on this channel, so it's just gonna have some like background game footage as B-roll. But essentially, we have this Vizio TV, and this Vizio TV is like pretty old. I don't know exactly how old, but it is a smart TV, so at the very least, it's got that. But we don't have a remote to it. I don't know where they got it from. I don't know what they were doing with it. Regardless, uh, basically what happened was for a good bit of time, we would have to use our phones in order to utilize, um, you know, a remote because we personally did not have a remote to use with the TV. So essentially, this is what I did in order to make it work. I'm just going to get straight to the point. I just wanted it to be known. So, yes, it is a Vizio TV. What I did was I took an Ethernet cable, connected it from my modem, my router, where my Wi-Fi and stuff comes from, and I plugged it into the back of the TV because it has an Ethernet slot. When it did connect to Wi-Fi, I had an app specifically for Vizio that I connected to the TV with and was able to connect to Wi-Fi. Boom, I was using that for a while, but the Ethernet cord ends up getting in the way, ends up being too short, and anybody can trip over it, so there was that. So what I ended up doing was using the phone to navigate to the Vizio settings, going to network, and then while in network settings, went to okay, so here's the thing. When you're connected to Ethernet, you are on a wired connection. When you go to network, they're only going to show the connection that you're wired to through Ethernet. At least for me, that's what they did. So in order to change that, I unplugged the Ethernet while it was still on the network settings. And then my network showed up because my network was the closest. It was the first pick to pick for network options. So in order to pick that network, I ended up taking an Xbox controller. I had a keyboard, I had a mouse. I tried each of them. They seemed to not really work as well, but I also have an Xbox controller. So I took the Xbox controller, connected it with a USB cord, and then plugged that into the back of the Vizio TV. So I have like several ports. I have one USB, one Ethernet, and then like four different HDMI's, if not three. So I plugged the Xbox controller in, and I can press A and or X as like the accept button, and I can press B as the back button, but I can't use the dialog sticks to move, right? So I can't change between different Wi-Fi options or anything like that with the controller. I can only say yes or no, essentially. So I said yes to clicking on my Wi-Fi, and then when my Wi-Fi came up, I had to put a password in. Now, if you have no password, you can just hit yes on your Wi-Fi, and boom, you connect. But because I did have a password, I'd have to type it in. And so what I ended up doing was I plugged the Ethernet cord back in, which will bring up the keyboard, like still have the keyboard open on screen for you to put your password into. I ended up reconnecting with my phone, typing my password in, and then hitting connect. And as soon as I hit connect, I unplugged the Ethernet cord. And when I unplugged it, it stopped looking for a wired connection and started looking for a wireless. And then it auto connected. Now I can use my phone as a remote, and I don't need the Ethernet cord connected anymore. And I just thought that I would throw that in case anybody was curious or ended up having this problem, because I went looking for help for this forever from everywhere and just could not find a fix anywhere. So I'm just trying to let more people know about it and spread the word, because a bunch of people had a bunch of questions centering around it like I did. And I spent like half an hour to a whole hour just trying to figure out how to get this to work, and essentially did it by basically glitching the system because it takes a minute to connect. And yeah, all right, peace.